Good morning and welcome back to my channel. This morning I'm going to talk about what it's like to do volunteer work in your 50s. The first place that I ever volunteered at was an old railway station near Prague in Czech Republic. There was a gentleman there from Australia who had purchased an old railway station and turned it into a bed and breakfast. And it was such a good idea. I volunteered there for 2 weeks, or I should say me and my sister volunteered together. And the duties involved in changing the beds and cleaning and basically all the things that you do in your own home. And there were outside duties as well, and that was cutting grass. We did some gardening, cleaned the railroad tracks. Apparently there's a train that goes by there once a year on the old tracks, and this is a very old train as well. I didn't get the pleasure of seeing it because I wasn't there at the end of the year. But we cleaned the tracks of any debris or anything like that, so when the train comes through. We had fire at night. If you had marshmallows or whatever, you could roast. The host at the time, he made 3 meals a day, so that was super nice. And what else was nice about this guy was a good conversation, and the fact that he would take you around a bit to see the local historic places and castles and whatever else was there. So it was my first volunteering, so it made a good impression on me, and I knew that I would be doing more volunteer work, whether it be in hostels or farms or what have you. But my age did not seem to be a factor in anything. It was never questioned by the host. It wasn't questioned by other volunteers. Neither was, sometimes they put age and health together. None of that was ever questioned. He seen my ability to do, and was very pleased with it and never had any problems. So yeah, it was a great experience. It's one of the places I hope to get back to someday, and you can find that on Workaway in Czech Republic if you're interested in going to that place, which I totally recommend it. Prague is an amazing, amazing place. Like, it's just amazing. You just have to go there to see it, to believe how amazing it is. My second time volunteering was in Malaysia, Penang Island, Georgetown, at Lincoln's Backpackers Hostel. To say that I didn't have any concerns about my age would be false. I did have concerns because I knew hostels mostly had younger people in, so that meant younger volunteers. So, but I arrived at the hostel and I was greeted by a man named Ted, who welcomed me very, very nicely and took me through the hostel and showed me the hostel. I was very impressed. It's an older hostel, about 100 years. Don't quote me on that. It's historic, but it's been well maintained, and I was truly impressed. So yeah, he took me through the hostel, took me to the dorm room where I would be staying. It was very nice and kind, and I unpacked, and apparently that night they were having a gathering. A meal was cooked and everything for the other workaways that were leaving. And one of the workaways came into the room where I was. Her name is Dee, and well, that's not her name, but that's what she wants people to call her. And she told me to come into the kitchen, and I was more than welcome. So that was good to hear, because that left a lot of relief. And I went in the kitchen, and there were other volunteers there, and they were all younger than me, but I was welcomed nicely and sat down and talked a bit. I'm a bit shy, and I like to observe a little bit before I interact. I'm not sure everybody has their sense of humor, and so I just like to observe and see what people's sense of humor is, and I found out that I fit right in, no problem. So after that, I started my volunteering, and I did some reception then at the desk, the front office, and I had never done that before, and I definitely wanted to learn it. And anytime I had a problem and I asked the other volunteers, they were very happy to help. The volunteers that were there at the time I was there were fantastic people. We ended up making a lot of good memories, having a lot of fun, going out together. They all invited me just like I was one of them, which was great because I felt the same way. And so, yeah, I made a lot of friends, long-term friends, hopefully. And I was asked by one of the volunteers my age at one point when we were out to having a few drinks. And I did tell him my age, and that was it. There was no bad looks or attitudes or anything like that. I was just treated like another volunteer, so it worked out very well. And then I got to meet the owner of the hostel, Lincoln, and another great guy, down to earth, which I like. Very open, willing to listen, and also willing to allow you to solve your own problems, which is really good. I personally like that. So, yeah, so my second time volunteering at a hostel, no, it was my first hostel to volunteer at, but my second volunteering, again, left a great impression, and I knew that I wanted to do more. But at the point that I volunteered at this hostel, COVID-19 had set in, and so country of Malaysia became locked down, and I ended up staying at Lincoln's hostel volunteering for about 5 to 6 months, something like that. And they loved me, I loved them. It became my home, and they became my family, so that worked out well. And then after the country of Malaysia allowed to travel through the country, and I thought, well, I would start requesting for more volunteer work at other hostels in different locations through Malaysia, so that I would be able to visit the country. I love Georgetown. It's like my second home now, or actually my first. Hopefully I can go back there. At this moment in time, we're still in lockdown as far as the country. I think some people are flying in and out. I don't know how that works, so I don't want to talk about that and give any misinformation. But so at this point, I am traveling Malaysia, and I am volunteering at different hostels, or not just hostels, but I do put in for other things, but like farms or schools. Schools aren't open yet. That was my main thing to come to Southeast Asia, but we'll talk about that in another video. We'll keep this one strictly on my volunteer work. So yeah, it was a great experience, great people, and totally recommend this hostel for volunteer work, or even just going to have the pleasure of staying. So here is some footage of the hostel. This is the inside. These items you can buy. Receptionist. What is the country you're from? Okay, we're going to walk upstairs. morning. Super nice. And the kitchen area. Dining breakfast. The kitchen area has a lot of space, so if you work online, you have all the space you need. Banana pancakes. And here is the great chef. Good guy. This bathroom that we're entering has two entrances, one from the common area and one from the second floor. And it is a shared bathroom, female, male, and it is very spacious. So my third time volunteering was at another hostel in Malacca. I volunteered there for 1 month. And because of COVID-19, it wasn't super busy, but it was very nice. The guy was super nice. Again, age was not an issue, was not even a question. The guy was nice. I pretty much had the place to myself. There were some tourists that came in and stayed, but in the beginning it wasn't a full house, but at the end of the month it was a full house. That's because the celebration of the Independence Day of Malaysia, and so Malacca likes to celebrate that in a big way. Malacca's not a very big place, but it's beautiful. I totally recommend it. I stayed there for a month. You don't necessarily need a month to stay there, but it's really nice. The nightlife is really, really beautiful because it's lit up with lights and stuff. So, and the hostel itself is walking distance to a lot of restaurants, the waterfront, the river, and Jonka Street, which they have the night market. And I think I said that right. I'm not the best at pronouncing these words here in Malaysia, but I am trying to learn Malay, believe it or not. But yeah, it was a super nice hostel, and here is some footage that I have at the hostel. outside deck was definitely a bonus. Not every rooms had this outside deck. I think this was the only one. But yeah, it was nice just to sit out there in the breeze. The only downfall is the dogs next door. Volunteering is where I am at this point now. And I am at Kuala Lumpur in Chinatown, volunteering at another hostel called Longhouse. And at this point, I don't even think about my age, since I've had such good experiences that it's no longer a factor of worry or concern anymore. I just applied for the Workaways. They accept me. I know it has nothing to do with my age because, like I just said, there's been no issue about it. So I'm going to take this opportunity and film the hostel that I am currently volunteering in. So here it is. I'm going to start at the entrance, and this is Jack the Fat Cat, who is the true boss. Artwork, love it. Or wall art. That's okay, you can go by. Just filming. Yeah, Jack's okay. Medicine plant. And this is the view from the front, which, as you can see, is the city view. And as you can see, it's called the Longhouse for a reason. And I'm just going to show you what the rooms look like. This is the one I'm staying in. And they don't have windows for the outside, but there is a window that goes to the hall, which it does give some circulation. And if you can volunteer here, I'm sure if you have artistic talent, they will allow you to do some wall art. And bathrooms, they're clean because I cleaned them. And here's the back, which I totally love. Hi. What I love about the back is that it's like you are in the city, but you have the country at the same time. So you get both. And there is a parking lot, and beyond the parking lot is a market, so you can go and get your daily fruit. And down here you can do your laundry. Still has potential space. Kitchen area. More wall art. Common area.